Hello, this is Chip Baltimore, a senior fellow with the Taxpayers Protection Alliance. As many communities are starting to look at municipally owned broadband systems, there's a lot of misinformation out there about how much of a benefit these systems are going to be to the particular communities. The promises that consultants will always make is that a municipally owned system can offer faster, cheaper, more reliable internet service than what the communities already have or will have through the private sector down the road. And they'll start out by saying that the incumbents systems are antiquated, that the newest thing is fiber, and you can do fiber that's going to handle all sorts of speeds, gigabit communities, that kind of thing, that would be very, very beneficial and will last for decades into the future. And while the fiber itself may last that long, we're already seeing rapid technology developments in the industry that make those promises about the durability and the actually obsolescence of the fiber down the road to be very, very troublesome. Recently we had a company come out and illustrate a 10G system, so 10 gigabits per second system, here in Iowa in a community, and they showed all of the things that they could do. And again, this was under one of the old systems allegedly, but with new technology, that system works just fine in terms of offering 10 gig system. We recently saw one of Elon Musk's companies that's starting to test satellite-based 6G speeds through wireless technology. Many of these cell companies are also offering and rolling out 5G capabilities. So the technology that's out there is really gearing towards something more wireless than wired in the ground. And so, when these companies and consultants are coming out there and saying that a municipal broadband system with fiber is going to last for decades, honestly, look at the last 20 years and see the technological changes that we've had, and ask yourself, is the municipal's fiber going to really last from a technological standpoint and be the most cutting edge 15, 20 years down the road, because that's how long it's going to take for these entities to pay off the debt that they borrow. When it comes to the pricing of the services, this is another area where we see some just flat out misstatements. The consultants will come in and tell you from the very beginning that you're going to be able to get it cheaper than the incumbents, and it's going to be better and cheaper. Cheaper is what always sells people. And so when they ask in these initial surveys, if you could get faster, cheaper internet service, is that something you'd be interested in? Of course, people are going to say yes. The problem is that rarely do these entities deliver. We at the Taxpayers Protection Alliance, we've looked at rates all over the country, and in very rare circumstances are municipally owned broadband systems able to offer cheaper internet service unless, and this is a very important unless the system is subsidized by an electric utility. If the community has an electric utility, then the electric utility will chip in and pay for a substantial part of the cost of constructing that, and oftentimes will cut a deal to help subsidize the ongoing operations by using smart grid technology, claiming that they're going to work smart meters onto their electric meters, and that's why they can justify paying certain amounts of the operating costs to the broadband utility. But when we look at the actual rates that are there, they're very much similar, and many times often higher than the incumbent system. I know that the city of Vinton, Iowa, was one that was gravely disappointed that they could not offer the cheaper rates than they had initially projected and promised their citizens. And the reason they couldn't do that, two reasons really. Number one, the citizens that made up the utility board had no idea how to run a broadband utility. So they had to go out and hire a company to manage this broadband utility for them. And obviously that did not come cheap. So their rates were higher because of that. The other thing that they don't talk about, and a few consultants out there have acknowledged, but very few talk about, is that most of the problems of reliability that you see out there in broadband systems with the private sector and ultimately with the public sector as well are inside the home. Most of it is due to either bad wiring inside the home or slower, cheaper routers that you buy because people don't want to pay higher amounts for the router that's inside their home. So you can have the fastest, lightning fast delivery of internet services to your home. And if you have a crappy, old, or not very technologically advanced router, you're still going to get slow internet speeds and not very good reliability. So how do the municipal-owned utilities get around that? They offer their 1 gig or 100 megabits per second service at a competitive rate, but then they'll come in and offer you a bunch of add-ons as well. Not only will it be a router, but it might be in-home Wi-Fi, or it might be some kind of Wi-Fi mesh that connects all the different parts of your home, and that comes at $10 a month, $15 a month, all the additional add-ons that at the end of the day make it every bit as expensive as the existing private sector providers, but many times it's more expensive. So those two things really prohibit the municipal-owned utilities from offering cheaper rates, even though that's what they promise oftentimes at the very beginning. So when you look at these projections, and when you look at the proposals, and when you look at the promises that are made, those are the things that you need to look at. Look at the additional add-on costs. Ask if those rates include all of the extras. Ask if those speeds are going to be deliverable without the additional add-on equipment and that sort of thing. And then ultimately you're going to want to ask these consultants, what kind of technological advances are we seeing in the industry right now, and how likely is it that this system is going to be the top of the line usable system 15, 20 years down the road? Because odds are it probably won't be. And if it probably won't be, it's going to be very, very difficult for these municipally owned utilities to continue to pay their debt that's based on a 20-year amortization oftentimes when they don't have the market share in 15 years. So thank you for listening. See you soon.